Hello, my name is Juan Fuentes. I'm the Director of Administrative Services, and today we'll be talking about the general fund and special revenue funds. So the major difference between general fund, special revenue funds, and enterprise funds is the type of activity that each of those funds oversee or account for. For example, the general fund is pretty much as the word says, general. What are some of the activities that are covered under the general fund? And those are typically activities such as your administration services, the office of the city clerk, your city attorney, the services such as parks and recreation, facilities department, the municipal court. It is all of those activities, police department, fire, public safety, that do not have any sort of particular revenue stream dedicated. So it's those activities that are covered under the general fund. When you talk about special revenue, those activities are very specific, as the title mentions, special revenue. Some of the more common special revenue funds are such as the road fund, because they get a specific revenue stream from the state. Other special revenues funds are things such as lodger's tax. We also have recreation. We also have the corrections fund. Those are typical special revenue funds that you have in the budget. Again, because they receive dedicated sources of funds to support a particular activity defined within the state statutes, the guidelines that we have to follow. So it is considered a special revenue. And as we touched on the last video regarding enterprise funds, those activities are to account for business type activities such as your water, your wastewater, your solid waste, and your landfill. So the general fund revenues are primarily made up of gross receipts tax, property tax, fines and forfeits, licenses and taxes, some charges for services, and miscellaneous and other items such as grants. But the primary source for the general fund is gross receipts tax. For this fiscal year, for fiscal year 2021, we are estimating that the percentage of revenue for the general fund in gross receipts, it's about 75%. And property taxes make up about 15% of the total revenue for the general fund. Combined, that's a combination of about 90% of revenue for the general fund. So with the lion's share of revenue coming from gross receipts tax, and this is common and with any municipality that relies heavily on gross receipts tax, there's a direct correlation with the businesses in our community that we need them to be successful. We need our businesses and we need people to come visit our shops, and we need to support the local economy because we rely so heavily on gross receipts tax, and those are the revenues and the resources that we use to provide the services such as the library, such as the police department, fire department, municipal court, and all of those quality of life services. So we rely heavily on gross receipts tax. So it is our goal to be able to encourage more economic development and support our businesses to be able to continue that growth in our revenue stream. So the way we plan a budget for special revenue, it is part of the overall process when we plan for the city budget, which we start with revenue projections for each of the activities, whether it's in the general fund, in the special revenue, or the enterprise. For example, in the special revenue fund, if we take one of the funds within that category, such as the lodger's tax, we typically look at historical information as far as how much revenue we've received in the last 3 years. What do we anticipate the economy is not only currently, but what do we anticipate the economy is going to be going into next fiscal year? And with this downturn in the economy and with this COVID-19, those sort of factors are taken into account to be able to have a reasonable projection of what the revenue may be, to be able to estimate what would be the expenditure side for that particular activity. Of course, each special revenue is different than the other. For example, we have another special revenue such as the correction fund, which is primarily generated their fees through fines and forfeits, but also is supported by the general fund. The special revenue fund fees are dedicated to each of those activities within that category. For example, lodger's tax fees are deposited in that special fund, which are primarily used for the support of activities such as the operation of the convention center, the operation of the visitor center, for some of the debt service for the construction of the convention center, and for all of those special events and support staff in the public affairs department, in the visitor center. Those fees are dedicated for those particular expenses. Again, as the category states, it is a special revenue, so those revenue streams are specifically dedicated for those activities. My name is Juan Fuentes, Director of Administrative Services for the City of Roswell. If you'd like additional information in the city's budget, I would encourage you to visit our website where we have the fiscal year 2021 budget that provides detailed information of all of the various funds and provides additional graphical information on the activities for this year and also on the various projects that we have been working on and also some of the projects that are planned for the future. Thank you.